On the spot review, I'm going to talk about The Killing of a Sacred Deer. This movie is directed by the same guy who did The Lobster. The Lobster was another good movie that he made. This director made. This, however, is more of like a horror movie in a lot of ways. The way that the movie is filmed is kind of like The Shining in a lot of ways, where it has these weird panning shots that hold on to certain shots for a little bit of a longer time, and it creates this atmosphere within the movie that just feels unsettling, where you just don't even know how to feel during certain events. It's a very clever movie in a lot of ways. The story overall, I'll just tell you this as a kind of a generalization, is it has a theme of revenge to it. Other than that, I'm not gonna say anything else because this movie, I definitely think you guys should definitely check it out. It's one of my favorites of the many movies that I've seen this year, in particular. It's just very clever and very thought provoking. As I said, it's filmed like a horror movie, but this movie kind of lingers in your mind a little bit because you actually get to think about what's going on, and the acting is really good. It has Colin Firth in it, and he's really good in this movie. I don't think there's a bad actor or actress in this film. I think the casting was superb. The music is phenomenal for what it is. I don't think it's a soundtrack that you're gonna just run to iTunes and buy the soundtrack. You're not gonna listen to these tunes as you are like working out or whatever. But the soundtrack for the movie is it's very, complementary to with the events. Like when something happens, the music just I know this sounds kind of bland, but it does fit the scene, and the way that's used is very clever in a lot of ways. I can't really say any more other than I can't say any more without spoiling, unfortunately. I really like this movie. It's a movie that I definitely might want to see again because it's just a movie that really stuck with me. So that's this. So if I were to give it a score, I would probably give it a 9 out of 10 because I think the only issue I can kind of see with this movie that might, that people might have with it is the pacing is a little slow. It's a slight flaw, but it's not one that ruins the experience because it does feel rewarded by the end. Like you don't feel like you're wasting time, but there's very minor scenes that I think go on a little bit too long, but it's a very small little thing. Other than that, it's a great experience. I think if you're looking for a movie that's like a horror movie, it's more psychological, and and just overall abstract and weird, this might be the movie. When I say abstract, by the way, I'm not saying that's like some trippy 2001 Space Odyssey trippy or abstract. I'm more saying that it's kind of like The Shining in some levels of abstractions with that. You'll see that mostly with the dialogue, how the characters talk with one another. That's a little abstract. Some of the things that go on in this movie isn't really explained, but that's not a bad thing because ultimately it's better to not have these certain elements explained. You'll see what I mean if you watch the movie. Watch the movie. See you guys in the next video.